2021. I always have to look at my notes because I still have squishy pandemic brain. But thank you for joining me. If you're here in real time to see the interview today, and if you're looking at things down the road in the future when it was more convenient for you, hopefully you get a chance to check out this guest if you are not familiar with her, or perhaps you're a hardcore longtime fan. So it's just something that you want to have a chance to see what's going on with the latest here in February of 2021. And coming up really quick, I do have a virtual interview tomorrow, Thursday, actually at the exact same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have Carl Garcia from Los Angeles, and Carl is an amazing musician, actor, videographer, all kinds of things. So I'm going to be talking to Carl tomorrow, and then on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Marina from Phantom Elite, the Symphonic Rockers. She's going to be joining me to talk about the new album and everything else she has going on. And Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the Fun Table Sessions Round 2 for 2021, which is going to be 21 overall since I started these last year in 2020. And I'm not doing guest reveals yet because I'm waiting on one more guest to see if they can make it or not. But I have 2 that are confirmed, possibly 3. And we're going to go from there. But let me make a change real quick on my screen. And my guest today is a mesmerizing musician and artist. Her classic and timeless voice has captivated audiences for many years. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Hayley Sales.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I actually, when you were saying what day is it, realized I have absolutely no idea. No idea what day it is. Like, okay, good. It's February 3rd. I got this. We got this.
Yeah, no, just like we were talking pre-show that, some days go by fast, some go slow. What day of the week is it? What date is it? How did we get to February already?
Yeah. Well, what is happening? Who am I? Yeah. Weekends just don't exist anymore. Like, what's a weekend? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the morning? I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly doing great.
I used to try to actually do these things from the top of my head without writing it down. And I said, I have to write this down because I don't actually know.
Considering I can't remember my name some days right now, I totally get that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Hi, Industrial Girl down in East LA. She's saying hi to you as well.
Oh, hello. There's the camera somewhere. I'm like, hello.
And she's one of the hardcore Alice fans that I got to do the virtual tour with back in May of last year.
Oh, so cool.
I've been following a lot of the other things I've been doing on the Eclectic Arts side of things. So it's been really nice.
That's awesome.
And, my cats keep my schedule for me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and so like you were kind of talking pre-show that you were down in LA when you were working on the album at the beginning of last year, and then when things started happening, you decided to drive on up.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. So I'd actually finished the record up here on my parents' blueberry farm in Canada and had just been a complete hermit for 2 years. Like I just literally was quarantining myself trying to finish my music. Finally finish it. Go back to LA. I'm like, I'm finally going to start seeing humans again. I'm going to tour. Life's going to be so awesome. And then, yeah, well, need I say what happened? And sure enough, like the tiny little studio I was in LA just didn't seem like the place to be, considering I could not fit a roll of toilet paper anywhere like it was such a small apartment. So packed up my stuff and just beelined straight back to the border. Because I wasn't sure at that point if they'd closed the Canadian border or what was going to happen. Didn't go to any rest areas. It was a very rugged, very unique road trip. Went by Area 51 to kind of avoid the main cities. So that was cool. But yeah, it's been a strange year. Can't believe it's been a year saying that's actually strange in and of itself.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. For me to be able to say that here it is February 2021, I have to start thinking, what was I doing last year at this time? Well, there were still concerts at this time.
Right? I know.
because I was covering some of it, and Facebook will remind me that I was covering.
I was actually allowed to go to a restaurant at that point. No, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So when you first got yourself up to Canada at the February-ish time of last year,
Yeah.
how was that transition then? So did it just like hit you immediately, like I don't have shows, I don't have this, or did it kind of take some time to kind of sink in?
Honestly, it really triggered a pretty big bout of maybe not clinical depression, but just this. I just felt completely lost because I don't know if you knew or not, but I in 2016 had finished my third record with Universal, and the label had left, and my record got stuck in some weird, ambiguous land where I couldn't get it back or release it. And so it was this kind of stagnant, it's been a very like stagnant couple, well, I guess almost 6 or so years at this point. And then finally to feel as though I'd created something I could release, and to finally go back and tour, which is my favorite thing to do in the world, and all this stuff to be finally at my fingertips again. And then to have it taken away, I was definitely, I mean, I'm sure we all were in different ways, but it hit me pretty hard. And I didn't know what to do with myself, and finally just realized the only thing I could do to keep myself sane was record more songs. So now the album is like 25 tunes. My manager's like, stop, don't record anymore. We have to release them. But yeah.
Oh wow, that's true. No, I was aware of what happened in 2016, and then for you to finally get to a point where you have this brand new album ready to go, and you got all these plans, and then it's just like, here's another obstacle put in front of you.
Yeah.
Which, wow.
But, sometimes those obstacles, though, and clearly this isn't always the case, but I'm at least able to see that 2016 was a blessing in disguise now. So I'm hoping that maybe something about this last year of, being kind of asked to take time out. We're all being asked to kind of reflect and deal with ourselves and all of that. I got to hope that it's going to lead to something really beautiful. I'm hoping it's going to be the Roaring 20s, like a renaissance of art and live theater and, all of that. So here's hoping. But
here's hoping. And that's I just had another guest last week that said the exact same thing, hoping that this becomes another Roaring 20s for us.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. Hope more.
I think in some ways people are realizing that, social media has its beautiful attributes, but I think maybe being forced, like, it's kind of like we got what we asked for. Like, okay, you guys love the internet so much, here you go. I think it might inspire a renaissance of live, whether it's music, dance. Like I'm hopeful of that. And in some ways, maybe we needed to have that happen. I mean, COVID's it's not great that COVID had to happen for us to experience that, but maybe that's some silver lining. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because I know you've been doing a lot of live streaming during this time. I know some other bands have been doing the same thing. That what I've been finding, just kind of as an observer and also as part of one of these tours, is that you're building up a fan base that hasn't potentially maybe seen you live yet.
I know, it's so weird.
It's this virtual fan base.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that those fan bases translate to showing up to clubs and venues and performance halls once we're past this. And I think it actually will, just like what you said. People that weren't going to a lot of concerts before got a taste of this stuff by seeing live stream after live stream. It's like, I want to actually go be there in person, because as we both know, it's so different in person. Obviously, the exchange of energy and once it happens. So I'm hoping to see all those numbers go up for every artist that's really been putting in the time like you have during quarantine.
Yeah, definitely cannot wait to do shows in person again. Cannot wait, but we'll get there.
We will. And so one thing, when I'm trying to think, when I first saw, I'm not I'll be completely transparent. I am not the hardcore fan of yours that's known you for, since you started off over, it's almost been maybe 18 years. 20?
I was like a little kid. Yeah, to think I signed with Universal as a teen in 2006. So, but that's like incarnations ago. I don't even remember who I was at that point. I was such an idiot. So it's okay. It's better to pick me up now. I'm much better now. I'm a new and improved version.
All right, yeah, because I saw one of the live streams you did for the Kirkland Performance Center is actually, I think, the one that you had in September, and then I know you
That
did
was
another,
really fun.
and you did another one, I think, around the holidays as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I just happened, because I follow them, so I'm kind of like, oh, who is this? And I tuned into one of the streams. I'm like, who is this?
Aw.
You have an amazing classic, I really like a timeless type of voice. And I loved, hearing you play your piano, and I think you also play some guitar. And there's a lot going on in your music. It's something definitely, there's layers to it that you can't just process it at once. So,
Which is a good and bad thing, I'm sure. You have to, but yeah, thank you. That's really sweet.
yeah. So, and it sounds like you've been immersed in the music / arts world from a very young age with your parents and everything else. So, can you kind of speak to how you were back then, and how you got to where you are now?
So I was born in Washington, D.C., and my dad, he's been in the music world since the beginning, like played guitar with the Dead and all this, he looks like Santa Claus or Jerry Garcia had some strange love child. I don't know, but he's awesome. And so he and my mom, who's a writer and a dancer, beautiful hippie parents, drive me crazy. I love them so much. But I kind of just was I was literally born into a recording studio. The recording studio was in the basement. And so my dad would have all these early hip hop artists coming in, jazz artists, R&B and recording. And I was a little piece of work as a kid. And so I often just was put like on the console, and I would just sit there because I was happy if I was listening to music. And it kind of started there. And the second I could sing, I was singing. And to me, I never saw art as being like just music or just acting or just dancing. I just loved the imagination part of it and the storytelling. So I got into actually musical theater first, like as a 5-year-old. I demanded my mom enroll me, and she's probably like, oh my God, in these classes, and just being on stage was home. And I just knew it really, really young. And so for whatever reason, came in knowing I wanted to do it, and was pretty headstrong and stubborn and, and stuck with it. And that was all in Portland, Oregon. So I was lucky to be raised in a really artistic community, and just did lots of shows, fell in love with, which I'm sure another thing my parents thought was funny because they were listening to the Beatles and Bob Dylan. I just fell head over heels in love with the 1940s. I mean, I basically did not even know that modern music existed. And I was just like a little 7-year-old. I have no idea why. Maybe I have no idea, but I just lived in a different time until probably the age of 14, when I realized I was really not cool. Not knowing who the Simpsons are is not a good thing in middle school. But yeah, I just been doing it a long time and just love it. And it hasn't always been easy, but art is always worth it. At the end of the day, even if it's hard, it keeps me coming back for more.
Very well said. I think any artistic-minded person out there knows exactly what you're talking about.
Right? You just can't stop, even if all the signs are saying you got to stop. You just can't. But
yeah, it's impossible to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you were younger and you were doing musical theater and everything else, did you take lessons of any kind? Obviously having musical parents, and they could have maybe imparted something to you, but was it something that you did naturally, or again, did you do any kind of lessons at any point?
This is actually something brilliant. I took a vocal lesson when I was about 9, and the vocal coach said, please never go to another vocal coach ever again. You're like, because I think I was just singing so differently. And she just was like, just listen to the artists you like and just learn to sing on your own. And so I actually didn't take vocal lessons until I guess I was like 20 years old, and I got to actually train with Seth Riggs, who's he's brilliant. Like, I got to train with him in person a couple of times, and that was amazing. But I was trained classically with piano. I was obsessed. So I I started piano lessons at 6 and just became infatuated. And I had the greatest piano teacher ever, because she quickly realized, wow, this girl wants to write songs. So instead of, being nitpicky about this mode or that mode, she would teach me how chords flowed together or how to augment them. And I owe a lot to that wonderful lady Molly in Portland, Oregon, because it changed my life. And then I just picked up guitar because for some reason, when I was younger, I felt like piano brought out too much drama in me. And I really was trying to hide how much of a basket case I am. And so I felt the guitar brought this happier, easier, more approachable side of me out. And ironically, that's what I got signed with. So then and I love that music, but it was kind of this like moment of time in my artistic process, where before that I'd always been on the stage belting my little heart out and, singing these big ballads. And then I went to this very like kind of surf, reggae, guitar, ukulele world, which was really fun. But I don't know if that answers your question. I was trained, took a lot of dance, did a lot of acting, but for some reason I never took vocal lessons until a bit later.
Okay. Yeah, no, that absolutely answers my question.
Yeah.
So would you say, since you've had your hand in so many different artistic areas, and it's kind of like picking your own favorite children, but is there one area, like, is music your first love? Or
yes, but to be fully honest, performing is my first love. So being actually on a stage is my first love. I've been in films recently and I love that process too, but it's so different because there's something about the immediate connection I find it's the one moment I'm selfless, is when I'm either really deep in writing a song or on a stage, because otherwise I'm just riddled with insecurities. And you know what I mean? And that was actually with the virtual shows, something I found tricky is suddenly there was no audience to keep me out of my head. And I'm just going, wow, you suck. Wow, you suck. Oh my goodness, you suck so bad. And it took a couple times to get past that and get out of my head and realize people are listening. And yeah.
Wow.
Definitely music. I mean, I love that you can just be yourself through music. And I love that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And when you're describing things about when you're getting used to doing the virtual shows and and trying to get out of your head, I was the same way.
I know.
It's like I'm kind of my own worst critic, and there was something new that was foreign to me. So I tend to overthink things in those situations. And an industrial girl who's still in the chat right now, she probably remembers. She probably remembers that I never acknowledged the chat people ever.
I mean, I did my first live stream like upside down. Like it's been a learning curve, but
it is. And that reminds me of something where I had somebody in the chat, maybe like the third interview I did back in May, was saying Mark needs to wear headphones because there was some echo slapback happening. And I didn't know. I'm just talking. It sounds fine to me, but it was really good advice. I just wish someone had come sooner.
Right. I had that happen too on TV. They're like, "So do you have headphones?" And of course, today, my earbuds were dead. So I finally found these today and lucked out. But yeah, it's been a learning curve for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's kind of nice too is that once we get past this situation we're in and we're back, performing and doing things in person, is that you'll know how to do this. Like, let's say if you're going to be promoting a single or something and you need to do it virtually, bang, you'll feel somewhat comfortable, I think.
And you can do it from anywhere. So say you're on the road and wherever, you just set up your mic, get your keyboard out, and you can. So that is a beautiful takeaway from all this, is learning how bad I am at technology. but getting better a little.
You and me both.
Yeah, right.
Again, I think anyone that's been watching a lot of these interviews kind of knows. Yeah, Mark, he's not the tech guy, but he does what he can.
We get the job done.
Yeah, I'm so envious of those people that can sit there. They'll try to help me and send me like direct messages. Mark, you can do this, this, and this to improve your stream, and I'm kind of like, I don't know what you're talking
wait,
about.
what language are you speaking in right now? Translate to my head.
Exactly, and I kind of view myself as a bit of a dinosaur anyway, so it's kind of like it's going to be that much harder for me to pick this new stuff up. So it's like, hey, it's working. There's no issue.
It's like it's doing great right now. Our lighting's okay. I can hear you. We haven't been disconnected yet. We're doing awesome at life. Awesome at life right now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And so, like, when again, for people out there that haven't checked out Hayley's streams, they're on her YouTube channel. There's a lot of them, single songs to full shows that she was doing during this pandemic lockdown time. Yeah. And Hayley, when you were doing those streams with your music, did they get to a point? I'm guessing you're probably going to say yes, that they started to progress of like how you wanted to present those streams, even the song structure, the sets, that kind of thing.
Completely. I actually, it seemed like we had 2 shows that we didn't air. Just there were Napa fires. Like there's so many things that happened, and we haven't aired them yet, which is ironic. I'll just do new ones at this point. But it was the last couple shows where I finally settled in, and it's you like, I guess I started to realize it wasn't a performance. It was, I wanted it to be more intimate. I wanted it to feel more like you're not on a stage, because we're literally not I'm in my bedroom. Like, and to just adjust things according to that, and to be, it's different than being on a stage. It's completely different vibe as the performer. And so that did start shifting what I was doing, and in so much as choosing songs that really I would choose if you were actually in the room with me, and not caring if it was the most complete, fleshed out, versatile set, just doing the songs I really wanted to play and keeping it intimate. And so, yeah, it did, but it took a minute. Like, and I filmed a whole show once. They asked for it pre-taped, so live but pre-taped. Oh my goodness! So I finished this whole hour-long thing, and then I have to comp the audio with all that, and it just didn't work. Something about the recording, like none of the audio recorded. I had to do the whole thing over. And it was just this learning curve of how to simplify the technological side of it, but also how I'm doing it so that it's just less of a hassle. Like the tech sides, it can be really hard. So I started to focus on doing it all live, so that it's not comped together or anything. It's just what you see is what you get. The audio glitches, it's glitching. I can't help you. But yeah, now I love them, and I look forward to doing more in the new year for sure.
Okay, so that means, based on what you just said, so some of your performances have been strictly live, or did you record them strictly live and then they aired them later?
They were all recorded live. So, but then for me, I guess I started recording them in such a way that the audio was connecting to the video, so that I didn't tinker with it afterwards or anything. So then it was just completely
done. Yeah.
I find that most live streams are pre-taped live. And in some ways, it's easier because the internet doesn't turn off on you halfway through the show, which I've had happen too.
Yeah. Again, being on that Alice tour, all the performances they did, my interviews, they're all live in real time. So it's like, if something was going to happen, just like if you're in person at the show, app blows or something, the PA's messed up, and the lights out. It's like, well, now we got to deal with this because we're.
I know. I found that I liked it more like that, though. Well, when you don't have the option to second think something, as someone who's incredibly neurotic about perfectionism, you just don't have the option. So here we go. What's done is done. It is happening.
I absolutely feel the same way. That's why all of my live streams are exactly this. So if someone watches this a week from now on YouTube, it'll be just like they were here right now watching it, in their home with television. I don't go back and edit things out or put all these fancy things on. It's like, no, it's warts and all. This is what happened.
And that's, I think humans, myself included, are missing that, just real life interactions and whatnot. So, yeah.
And like you were telling me pre-show that during this time you had your new album ready, and then you started writing more and more songs on top of it. So
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to be releasing this music in the future?
Well, we're going to start by releasing singles. Starting in March, actually, is the first official single I will have released in a long time, and just try to release a song a month, at least while COVID's happening. And talking to labels, we'll see. But my biggest thing right now is not waiting any longer to put music out, because it's been so long for me of just like gnawing at the bit to, release what I love to do and whatnot. And then eventually we'll figure out what, 12 songs actually go on the record, and we'll have the other ones be something else. And that's the problem. Like, I gotta stop recording. But yeah, so song a month, just like to get music out there. I think people need music right now more than ever. So
yeah, and it sounds like it's kind of a nice problem actually to have, that you have all of these songs instead of like, oh, I only did 6 and I need another 6 more to do or something.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the positive way to look at it.
Yeah, this is a double-edged sword.
It's good. It's just going to be hard someday to decide what actually is the record and what's the next record or an EP, or, they're all your little babies. You're like, I love you all. You're so cute. Now you sit on the sidelines for 3 more years till I release the next album. Right.
That's true. And when you're talking about, kind of checking out label situations and that kind of thing, is it even a possibility that you would do this completely on your own, a DIY?
Honestly, if I can, that would be how I would love to do it. I guess we'll see. I mean, if we start releasing songs and it's getting heard, to me, the only fear I have is not getting heard. I like to release something and there's so much that gets put out and then no one actually gets a chance to know whether they like you or not. So if I can overcome that obstacle, I would love to do it independently. I mean, especially after the situations I've had with labels in the past. And I'm sure that if I do sign a deal, I'm going to go into it like, oh, gosh, please don't take my music again. But it's okay.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking about, because there's a lot of DIY bands that I support and like, and so I kind of see how they do their business. Alice is one of them. Soap Girls are another one. Nightclubs like that too, and kind of like, granted, they have to do a lot of extra work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of them, probably the biggest thing for them is just getting with the right publicists to get their stuff out there. And once that happens, then they just kind of watch it kind of catch fire, basically. Yeah.
I mean, it's all in the timing, and you can put out a song and then 5 years later, it's this amazing sensation. And you're like, I've been here the whole time, guys. Or it happens right away. And it's just this patience of doing it because you love it. And, when I get sad, I'll just imagine every person that listens to my song and be like, I love you. Thank you so much. And it's just appreciating the people that do find you and do hear you and want to take the time to listen. That's a pretty big compliment. So.
Yeah, no, I even for me, I'm just grateful for anyone that decides to follow me, subscribe to anything, check out.
Yeah.
It's like, and I value anyone that takes the time to do anything like that. Anything that I do. I
feel like I had success so young that I'm kind of glad I had the rug pulled out from under me, because having a top single at 18, you kind of just don't get the gratitude part of it. You think it's just how it goes. It's just the way it is. People ask you what you want on your writer and they'll get you the red M&Ms. Like, you just don't appreciate things. And while clearly I would have preferred to not have 10 years of waiting to release music because of legal stuff, it really made me grateful. So that alone is, potentially worth all the trauma. But like, it makes you grateful. You think about, oh wow, 2 people are watching this or whatever, and you actually genuinely care that they're watching it, versus when it's easy, when you've had it easy, you don't you don't think about it like that, or I didn't at least.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. And you're talking about this pre-show too. That just 2020 is, I think, has made people kind of appreciate what's important in their life in general. You know, your family, friends, career, whatever, and
Yeah.
also what's not important.
Yes. Yes. Right.
Yeah. And I know we've got a few more minutes before I know you got to go. I wanted to kind of shift gears a bit. Can you talk to me about your acting? Because I know you did like a television movie this year that came out, and you were in Deadpool 2, and you're in Supernatural. And you had a role in, I think, Supergirl and some other things. So can you
Yeah.
talk to me about your acting aspect of everything that you do?
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, I loved both, and for a while, I thought I just wanted to be in films. Which is, everyone's like, just do music. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I want to be in films. I'm like, but we have all this, this road is open to you. I put acting kind of on the side burner. At the time, Universal didn't. It was a different time, like 2006, 2007. It wasn't as easy to cross back and forth. So I kind of side burnered, that's not a word, but you know what I mean, acting. And then I guess, at a certain point about 7 years ago, I just realized how much I missed the outlet of acting. I find music and acting really complement each other. For music, you're like, here's me, take it or leave it. With acting, you get to tell someone else's story with yourself in it. So you're still being you, but it's this, you get to explore all these other stories and worlds. And it's while you're still being fully honest in yourself, you get to kind of like, it's more daring. And so you get to like explore other emotional states. Anyways, needless to say, fell back in love with it. I wasn't allowed to release anything, and just started going back out there. And I'm really, really grateful and lucky that I was able to start being in things and hope to continue. I mean, music's the priority, but maybe some fantastical musical will come along and I'll get to do that or something along the way.
That would be, yeah. I mean, as you were talking about your acting background, and we've just been talking for half an hour about your music background, it seems like you would be the perfect person to, meld these things together.
Yeah. No, I actually have been slowly writing a screenplay, like a musical, that someday, watch, it'll be like 50 years, but someday I hope to do, because I love them both so much. Like I love I love acting, I love music. And if I could combine them, that'd be really exciting. And something I want to do in music videos is, as we are allowed to film them again, is instead of view them as a music video, view them as a short film that just happens to have music in it. So acting's been really, really, I'm so grateful it's tied me over through this time of not being able to do music as easily. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it makes perfect sense to me. If your music video is going to start having more of a storytelling aspect to it, or allow you to have your, showcase your acting chops while we get to hear your music, or any of those kind of things. It all blends together and makes so much sense to me. And if you get something to a point where your screenplay starts having, gets greenlit somewhere and gets picked up, and then you're starring in, or I don't know if you're directing it too, or whatever.
We'll see. If it happens in 50 years, maybe I'll be directing it.
Well, it was, Hayley, it was so awesome talking with you about your career. And if you end up having some more time during this weird time that we're in, I would love to do a part 2 with you. I have more questions to kind of throw out at you.
Oh, it'd be fun.
Okay.
I love getting to talk to people and humans. As we were talking about earlier, just FaceTime, even if it's not FaceTime, it's really healthy. So yes, let's do it again. That sounds fun.
Okay, perfect. I will definitely reach out, and we'll try to get a part 2 scheduled. But in the meantime, stay safe up there.
You too.
Thank you. Take very, very good care. And for everybody that's watching, thank you for joining us. And Hayley Sales, everybody, check out her music everywhere, and check out her acting, and maybe check out her screenplay down the road.
Yay! All the fun things that'll happen over our lives.
Thank you so much, Hayley. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.